Welcome to Media Goes Full Paxman. Tonight sees the first real test for the 4 remaining candidates battling it out to be your next SU president. The election starts here and now, with polls closing on Thursday evening. Up next is second-year Politics International student Hugues Chopard. That's
Hi,
right.
nice to meet you.
Okay.
Thank you for having me here.
No problem. So you said in the hustings yesterday that you would cut score if necessary. Does this show you that you have complete contempt for sports at the university?
Yeah, it was a really hard question actually about if we need to stop something from the SU. I had no idea what to stop, and cut score is obviously not my first policy. I have nothing against score, and I think it's a great thing. However, yeah, when we asked me the question, I was like, yeah, this is the only thing I'm thinking about.
Well, surely this shows that you're like completely out of touch with the students that you're wanting to run to represent. The very fact that you don't know how important score is to the sports community.
What I would do, like instead of like just saying I want to cut this, I would go for if we really need to cut something, I would go for a referendum, or I will ask for people. I know that score is very important for sports activities and societies, and they really like it that much. So. Yeah, I would go for the expertise of everyone and make sure that the choice is heard. That's my point.
If the question is about saving money in the SU, how will having, putting the extra expense of having referendums, campaigns, and these sorts of things actually help save the cost? Should it add an extra cost to then get rid of an extra cost?
If we need to get rid of anything, score might be an idea, but won't be my first one.
But surely this shows that you don't know kind of enough about the SU to really take you kind of be credible as a candidate.
Yeah, the point is like being sure that what we need to cut is interesting, and we need to know more. And my point is like so far what I've heard from the SU and all my research is like we don't need to cut something, and that's my point. I don't want to cut anything, and if I need, I will.
But say you want to spend more on something. You're not going to get necessarily more money through the block grant. So how, surely you'd have to make cuts to make investments in other areas.
Yeah, so if I want to invest more in something, the point is like my point of manifesto is improvement. I don't want to change or delete everything or anything like score or class. My point is like I want to go further, and if we need more investment, I would look for more investment. That's my point. And if I can
where will this investment come from?
Yeah, if I can develop on this. There's a thing where I need more investment for my manifesto is the innovation hub. Obviously, the investment will come from the university. And so the innovation hub will help us to develop and create more ideas that coming from the student. And
ideas for what? What exactly?
The point, we have already an innovation center. We have lots of research center in every different department. And what I want to do is make sure that students can have an experience from themselves before leaving university. And so I've talked with enactors, I talked with Bath entrepreneurs. I had a close look to the innovation center, and what we've been ended up with is that we need more funds for people who get ideas for the university. Like we had like some random ideas about, for example, new lights inside the library. When you stay that longer in the library studying, and like the lights hurt your eyes, it could be uncomfortable. And so we've been wondering, we can build a racing car with £35,000 of investment.
Surely this all sounds like blue sky thinking. It's like, oh, if we had enough money, then we do this. But surely that doesn't meet the realities. Like you have to make priorities.
My priority will be here. That's my point. Score is good enough. I think nobody's complaining about this. I never heard any complaint about score. I never heard any complaint about class. And so my point is like I want to focus where people have complaints. And I heard a lot about when I met the mechanical engineering guys who are building this racing car. When we discussed with them, it was only 5% of investment from the university. All the rest of investment are from Santander's, BP, and so they've been able to raise lots of funds. And when I was listening to them, I was like, why the university is not giving more? This is their student. This is our improvement. This is our project, and this is where I want to spend more.
But how are you going to get the university to deliver on this extra funding?
Basically, when Enactus is looking for some funds for a project, for example, in Africa, when they want to build more solar panels or try to develop facilities to get more water for some villages. What they can do is...
but surely, like, you know, talking about some charity or some organisation in Africa is not necessarily comparable to the Students' Union. And I mean,
it's
you know,
comparable with the Students' Union.
Problems with...
it's comparable for the Students'
grant.
Union. On one thing is that the Students' Union has the power to support them, to help them to go through every committee and pitch with them and to make sure that their ideas are heard. I don't say everything is possible. I don't say we can spend thousands and thousands of pounds for any project. But what I want to do and where I want to improve is make sure the SU can support those groups.
But how will this help, like, SU bureaucracy? How will it cut down the paperwork if you're filling in more and more paperwork? All these separate claims for all these, you know, innovative ideas, rather than going kind of and putting things together for a more long-term project for the SU. It
helps a lot in a way that the SU is supporting students, we are representing them, and lots of students are doing engineering or developing many ideas, and even if they're not doing engineering, when they're doing architecture or arts, they want to develop their own ideas. They want to leave university with a background.
But surely this policy is only giving money to these, like, the aspirations to these small amount of people, rather than say if there was this kind of pie in the sky money, why not invest that in clubs and societies?
If there is a need,
more people.
If there is a need, this is the role of the SU.
Not a need. There's not a need for more money in clubs and societies.
I never heard about. Like, I talked with many people, and I've never heard about. And if there is anyone that thinks that there is more need of investment for the class, SU, or even SCORE, I would be happy to hear about that.
But surely the way you're talking about now shows that, you know, you're always willing to say anything to get elected. You're just like, oh, if there's a problem here, I'll sort it.
No, I don't want to say. I don't want to say
because
everything. I don't want to say anything people want to hear. I'm just keen to explaining to people what is the role of the SU. The role of the SU is to support people, to be representative, and to make sure that their voice is heard. If they need something, I'm happy. This is our role. This is what we're supposed to do.
But surely it's your role as SU president to kind of have that the final decision, the kind of executive say, like, you know, we can't prioritise this. We have to prioritise this.
Obviously,
and, like, cut things out.
we need some priorities. This is what we have a top 10. This is what on my policies and my manifesto. I divide all my different policies in 3 different points. I state in all my flyers where I want to go first, etc., etc., etc.
Surely, like, even in your manifesto, as I've just kind of talked about with this innovation hub, like, it's a lot of woolly language, kind of empty, like, oh, we'll believe in you, we'll give you the resources that you need, we'll kind of listen to you.
This is not what I'm saying. This is not what I'm saying. What I want to go through is, like, I want to hear about what they want. I want to hear about their needs. And what I want to do, of course, we need to prioritize. Of course, we'll have a top 10 where we're going to spend a lot of our efforts, lots of our hours on it. And this is what I want to do.
But why don't you know those problems now? Why don't you know the issues?
I know them already. Investment Hub is responding to needs. We have Tackling Waste was responding to another needs. ISA is responding to another need. I've met lots of people, the chairs of the ISA, the chair of Enactus, BAFA entrepreneurs. I've met lots of volunteering groups as V-Team. I've met all those people, Amnesty International as well. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to your ideas, and I want my manifesto to be realistic. And we've worked for a month to make sure that this manifesto is realistic. I've been to the chief executive of the SU to make sure to discuss about some of our policies. I've been to Lucy so many times, maybe the exact number.
But surely you still, like, no matter how, like, you say you've done all this, but then there's huge areas lacking. The very fact that you didn't know that some clubs really struggle to deliver kind of basic things which the SU expect them to deliver. For example, Debating Society, they have a £2,000 budget, only £300 of which comes from the SU. The rest comes from corporate sponsorship and from membership fees. So, you know, how are problems with that in terms of funding? You didn't even recognise that. You weren't in touch with these segments.
This is where my point. by saying all of this, I want to make sure that everyone is heard, as I said, and then after our priorities, we need to evaluate all the projects for you. You need more funds. We need to see what can we do for you, how we can support you, what can we do, where can we pitch for you to get more funds, if we can get more support from different founders, like you have PwC as a founder, you have, as you said, the SU, and so we want to make sure that we want to be realistic. So this is our point. And when I want to be realistic, I want to hear from people, and then I want to evaluate with the different committee that we have. I want to make sure that, okay, this is possible, this is not. And I will come back and say, okay, this is possible.
So there's a chance that your whole manifesto, when you actually find out what's going on in the SU, could be entirely undeliverable.
This is why I've met the chief of executive, the chief of marketing, and Lucy to make sure that my policies are. And this is what I've done, and this is where my work is. My manifesto, we worked on it. Don't want to like put some stars on the eyes of the people. I don't want to say, oh, we're going to give you this and this and this. I've made my work. We worked on our manifesto for so long. We've made it realistic, and this is the reason why I started by saying
it's not realistic if you put forward this innovation hub, for example, where you don't know that the funding is going to be there to fund it. So
yeah,
how is that realistic?
That's the point. I'm not saying we're going to get the fundings for all the projects. My point is like I want to build a structure. This is what I want to do. I want to build a structure for people who want to create stuff. I won't say everyone's going to get fundings or even one. What I want to do is make sure that people, when they want to create their ideas, develop their project, they have a structure and they have the support of the SU. If we can't give some funds, they will have the support of the SU to say, okay, this is a great project, they pitch with us, they have our expertise, we believe in them, and now we can support you to go to find other funds and other support from different companies and everything. What we want to build is not giving the insurance that they will have some funds, but they have the structure to build and create what they want. That's my point.
To another question about your credibility as a candidacy, can you name the two subgroups of the Students' Union that will fall under your remit as SU President?
Okay, can you repeat this question, please?
Can you name the two subgroups which will come under your remit as SU President?
Two subgroups that will come up under
your role as SU President.
Okay. I don't have any two subgroups in a way that I want to be neutral. That's my point. When I talk,
this is part of the job. Like, this is what you're responsible to. This is what these groups are supposed to hold you to account. But you don't even know what these groups are.
Yeah, I'm happy to discover like later if I'm elected. My point is like I'm only a second year, and the only thing I'm good at is listening to people and make sure their voice is heard. This is my job. If I'm elected, I will get a 2 weeks formation with Lucy, and I will discover everything about this job, and this is what I want.
So you're just asking people to trust you. You're just saying, you know, I will learn when I have time.
No, I'm not asking them to trust them. I'm not selling them anything about my abilities. The only thing I'm saying is like I'm good at listening. I'm good at get people together, make sure their work is done, and I'm good at connecting people. And this is what I do all the day. And this is my job. And this is what I do. And this is what I'm good at. And this is what I sell to people because this is who I am. And this is realistic. No, I don't know all the characteristics of the SU president job. I'm happy, and what I'm good at as well is to accommodate myself pretty fast. So a 2 weeks formation with Lucy will be more than enough to make sure I will work during the entire summer, and this is my point. So I agree on you.
The key main thing that come under your remit is a new subgroup that's being created for the SU, which is the politics and activism subgroup, which is passed via policy.
Yeah, and we are allowed to create.
And of course, it will be so important that you give, being the first president, which this falls under, to really give it the kind of kickstart that it desires, but you don't even know anything about it. You didn't even know that it exists because you didn't mention it earlier. So or in your manifesto. So how can people take you seriously that you care about the SU and the policies that people have submitted and put forward? You know, you said you listen to views, but you're not listening to the views in terms of what people are asking and the remit of your role.
My point, and I put it on my Facebook page, and this is the first thing I said. I said, if anyone has any inquiries, or if anyone want to talk about issues, I'm just going to meet today the guy and discover where they are building the racing car. I never knew about this racing car. I discovered last week that we are able to build a submarine. I voted for this policy about the different political activities at societies, and I'm more than happy that we bring this on. I think that on this point, point, I think that we should remain neutral. The SU doesn't have to hold the political opinion. And
so you wouldn't support the groups? You wouldn't?
If I support one, I have to support all of them. That's the point. If we support the left wing, we have to support the right wing. This is my point. Everyone get the if everyone has the opportunity to show his political opinion. I'm doing politics as well. I'm really interesting. I got my own opinion, but I don't want to be. I don't want to give a favor to any groups rather than another one.
If we turn to another question about engagement in the student population, so one of your flagship policies in your kind of engagement section of your manifesto is this Student General Assembly.
Yep.
What actually distinguishes this from SU officers' questions?
It will be more often, and my point is like. The question to officers is doing pretty well, actually. Lots of my friends have been there. I haven't been there, but it's going pretty
well. I mean, the turnout is through the floor. Like, there's only about 3 or 4 people go.
But that's enough. That's enough. My point is, like, if we want more people to attend, we first need to make sure that it's well advertised.
So is this a mark of a job well done? 4 people attending something that's supposed to increase participation from the SU?
As I said yesterday, what they've done is a good opportunity to make sure that people are heard. It's a good way to start. We tried with the Student General Assembly. We stopped it 4 years ago, but we started it before, and I think it's a great idea. I'm saying this not just because I'm doing politics and international and I care about democracy or make sure that people are heard and like do aspects.
Again, this turns to a wider issue which you have with your manifesto is you have a lot of loose commitments which have no specificity or detail behind them. For example, you talk about helping first years with housing for their second year. But how will you do that? There's nothing in your manifesto about
what we've done, we had only 500 words for our manifesto online, and on our Facebook page we detailed everything. Every day we are publishing one policy, and we detail it. So we go further on each point. So this is the first thing we're doing for the student who cares about the manifesto.
Why don't you just kind of throw out, and why did you you have 500 words. And you wrote in kind of woolly language, not much detail. Oh, this is generally what I want to do. But other candidates have dedicated more time to saying, like, these are the main 3 policies which I commit to.
That's what we're doing.
Then why isn't there no kind of detail in terms of how you deliver
There is a detail. The details are all on my Facebook page. Every time, as I said, every day we are detailing one policy. We have a more detailed manifesto on my Facebook page. This is why I want to raise awareness about my Facebook page, because you're raising one. Like, you think that my manifesto is not detailed enough. I'm answering you. My manifesto is more detailed on my Facebook page. And so about the student, the transition to university accommodation to private accommodations. What we were saying and what we want to do is there is already a website who centralize lots of private accommodation for students who goes from first year to second year. I think living in a private house in the second year is not something that could be seen as easy. Paying your taxes, your bills, it's really not easy. And so what I want to do is make sure that everyone gets more and more and the best information on each house.
But what does that mean? How you do this?
We already have a website where all the house which centralized. So this is the point. So on this website, you are able to see and to select and to choose a house regarding how many people you want to be there. So how many people do you want to have with you, and where you want to eat, where do you want it to be? What is the price you want to pay each month?
But what's new? What is new?
What is new is more advertisement, because when I talk to people, only, I would say, like, out of 10 people, only 2 know about this website. This is the first thing. Like, secure the transition between the first year and the second year accommodation is going through.
That isn't really,
there is a website.
It isn't really providing more help to first years. It's
of
just
course
saying
it is.
This is
of course it is. If we can go from 2 people out of 10 who knows about this website, and this website is helping people, if we can go from 2 people who knows this website to 5 or even 6, 7 out of 10 people, it's helping them. If we can go and then say, go to every landlord and say, okay, our page is working well. Lots of people are going there to select the house. If you want, we need more and more house on this. If you want, you can bring your house on the website.
How this improves, say, the standard of accommodation or increase the amount available?
Having a website who tell you where is the house, how the last people were there appreciated, how easy is it to pay the bills, how you do, where is the company.
Well, how are you going to guarantee that the landlord's going to fill in all this information or
because
collect
this is the only thing. If they want a house, if they want to rent their house for students.
But what stops them advertising, for example, on Rightmove?
They can do it as well. They can do it as well. We don't want
your policy doesn't really work.
No, of course, we already created a website. It's working. We just want to improve it in giving more information and make sure that people are more aware of this website. And that's it. It's not.
But surely, if it's very easy for landlords to get around this policy,
if they want to get around, they get around.
Change.
If they want to get around, they get around. But the point is, like, if we advertise more our website, we will be sure that lots of students are going there. And if landlords don't want to put their house on this website, they won't have the same customers as usual.
We have to come to an end now. We've run out of time. But thanks for coming in anyway.
It was a pleasure.
Okay, thank you.